Hey listeners, before we get into today's podcast, I want to thank today's sponsors, first of which is Pretentious Pickles. Our good friends at Pretentious Pickles, located right here in Plymouth, Massachusetts on 190 Water Street, have a huge variety of pickled items for your consumption. There's pickled beets, Brussels sprouts, carrots, mushrooms, cucumbers, you name it, they've put it in a jar and pickled it. They make a phenomenal product, and for the second year in a row have been won Best Gourmet Shop in the South Shore, Massachusetts area. So congratulations to Lorraine and everyone at Pretentious Pickle Company. And if you can't make it to their store, you can stop by www.pretentiouspickle.com, and you can place an order online, and they'll ship it right to you. If you're into pickles, you should definitely check that out. And our second sponsor today is HelloFresh. Do you feel like you're stuck in a dinner rut? With HelloFresh, you get fresh, pre-measured ingredients with mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. Skip all those trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. You can now enjoy cooking and get dinner on the table in 30 minutes or less with over 25 recipes to choose from each week. There's something for everyone to enjoy. All recipes are designed and tested by professional chefs and nutritional experts to ensure delicious and simplicity. And I was just over there on their website checking out what they have to offer. And I'm telling you, it's making me super hungry. We have a prosciutto wrapped chicken, which I'm such a sucker for prosciutto. Chicken over garlic parm, which looks delicious. And even a beef tenderloin and brown butter veggies. There's a lot to choose from over there. It looks fantastic. And today they're offering our listeners a discount. You can go to the link in our show notes to get $80 off, including free shipping on HelloFresh, the #1 meal kit.
Across the line, the Gulf Stream, I've been in Tampa Bay, around the horn, and home again, 'cause that is the sailor's way.
Welcome back to the Old Colony Cast, a podcast about all things Plymouth and surrounding areas. I am your host, Andy, and I'm joined, as always, by super producer extraordinaire, Mick Awesome. Sure. Fish. Was that too many compliments?
I'm uncomfortable. Also yellow.
And as always, co-host Hanna.
Hello.
What's up?
Oh, you know.
So you're having a day.
I'm having, you know what? My mood is actually pretty good.
You seem like you're kind of up.
I'm probably manic because of all, like all of the down things. I'm like, no, it's going to be a good day.
I'm going to make it a good day, whether it wants to be or not.
Exactly. No, I feel fine. Lots of coffee.
All right.
That's it. That's
Okay.
why. Coffee
Cool.
makes me happy.
Well, we just came off a recording of Bar Talk not too long ago, and it's up. So if you don't know what Bar Talk is, it is our other podcast, and Hanna sat in and did an episode where we talked about prohibition and how it affected the local area. So if you want a little bonus OCC episode, just jaunt over to the jazzy Tunky Tinkle of Bar Talk and check that out. FYI, it is not a family-friendly podcast, so we say some naughty words.
Yes. And I mean, it's the same dynamic as this, just more people and more swearing. Yeah.
That's pretty much it. So have a listen if you want. It's fun. We've already had some feedback from Hanna's fan base that was their first Bar Talk podcast that they listened to. You know your fans, right?
Really?
Yeah, you look very confused.
Yeah.
I met one of them this weekend. Well, I've met her before, but
Oh.
she's like, I just listened to Bar Talk for the first time because I'm a fan of Hanna, and she was on that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
It's probably one of my friends.
Nope.
No,
you do not.
Stop.
You've never met this person before.
My mind is blown that I've never met this person, even though I don't know who it is because I feel like I just know everyone.
Yeah. Not a Plymouth native.
This is amazing.
Fish, what's her name?
Rosemary.
Rosemary. I feel like you should say hi to Rosemary.
Rosemary. Hey, Rosemary. Thanks for listening.
Hopefully you just made her day.
It's my grandmother's name.
It's not your grandma.
Okay.
That would have been super. Wait, it's not, right?
No.
Okay. It's super weird. But But I don't think that's possible. Never mind.
Math does not work.
No. So you got some positive feedback.
Awesome.
Yeah. Big fan. She's Rosemary. You should write in because she said she's a history fan and she doesn't always agree with everything that we say.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, well, we would like the feedback. So
yeah, I know. So the thing I struggle with is there's facts I pick out, and it's not that I intentionally do it, but everyone does it, right? You're like, oh, that's cool. I might not, and then like someone will be like, oh, also this about that. And I'm like, well, yeah. Yeah. But I only had so much time.
Right. And that's not the cool thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So Rosemary or other listeners, if you want to tell us where we're wrong or suggest an episode or anything like that, you can email oldcolonycast@gmail.com and we will read it on the air or acknowledge it in some fashion.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
So that's out of the way. What are we talking about today?
We're going to talk about Mother Goose.
Sweet.
Yeah.
As in the nursery rhyme.
Yeah, the nursery rhyme.
Cool.
Lady.
Are you going to do some nursery rhymes for us?
No, we can talk about them. I mean, we can. We know them.
All right.
Yeah, we can get to it. So this starts where any good Boston history starts.
Plymouth? Mayflower?
England?
France. Not at all.
Okay.
Where we thought that would be in. So during the 8th century, not too long after our pal JC was kicking around.
Okay.
In
a long way after. You said the 8th century?
Yeah.
It's like, that's a long way.
Like 700 years?
That's a long time, Hannah.
Yeah, but it's closer
in relation
than now.
to what? I mean, for a mountain, that's like a couple days.
Yeah.
Yeah, but...
It's closer than we are now to then.
Sure, but it's still a very long time.
Or a very short time if you're a mountain.
I am not a mountain.
Listen, some of our listeners might be mountains, all right?
Yeah. Oh. No. I was like, what?
Look, just because we're big in the Himalayas doesn't mean we're listening by the Himalayas. That's not how this works.
So we're going to talk about, it's not that close, but like in my mind, that's what the connection I made. I was like, not that long after Jesus.
I'm more curious of what the connection is between
us, like,
Massachusetts, Mother Goose, and Jesus.
Or
What?
like actual 8th century, like Charlemagne or the fall of Rome.
Wow, we're skipping ahead. We got a skipper over here.
I know, right?
I'm sorry.
Who does that, Hannah?
I'm
Listen,
sorry.
pal, you want my job, you come for it, buddy.
Last time I did the intro, this time I'm jumping ahead. Be warned, sir.
So
Look, I'm sorry, it's 8th century France. That's all I know.
yeah, he's not wrong. So Bertrada of Leon is born between 1710 and 1727.
7, not 17.
1710 and 1727?
That'd be the 18th, not the 8th.
Oh, maybe I meant to write that.
Okay.
You know how I just said I forget little things?
Yeah.
I don't think ones are cool, so I didn't add it on there.
You don't think ones are cool, so you just wrote?
Yeah, I skipped it.
And that is why 1 is the loneliest number.
Yeah. I'll never know. It's not on my page. I probably just forgot to write the 1 in seriousness. But she fell in love with Pepin the Short.
No, this is 8th century.
Okay.
He literally knows who you're talking about.
Yeah, Pepin the Short was one of the sons of Charlemagne.
So I said 8th century.
Yeah, but then you said 17.
No, 710.
Okay, that makes sense.
I see where the mess up happened.
You've overcompensated for your issues.
So we're in
with number
France?
Listen, I don't know if you guys know this, but I know what I'm talking about. Trust me. 710. I just am so used to things having an extra digit on them in
I'm just trying to figure out how
years.
Jesus became French. I don't get the connection.
No connection. I just thought
I can
year
give you one if you want some
710 was
BS.
close to that.
Yeah.
His death, at least. Anyway, so yeah, 8th century, like I said. And she married Pepin the Short, her close relative.
Okay.
Not sure how close, but they were cousins of some sort. And he became king of the Franks.
Okay.
All right. And they had 7 children together
Oof.
before Pepin's death.
Oh, wait, they were cousins and they were married.
Yeah, she
Okay,
married
yeah,
Pepin.
they did
She
that.
married-
Welcome
I
to
know.
European
I got
royalty.
It. I got it.
Yeah.
I know that.
And they had 7 children together, Charlemagne being one of them. He was the oldest.
Okay.
So that was their first child. So Bertrada had many nicknames for a specific reason, but I'm going to read you some of the nicknames. Also, yes, Jesus has nothing to do with this.
Okay.
That's just,
That was just Hanna throwing it in there
Yeah.
for no reason. Okay, got it.
Goosefoot Bertha,
Okay,
Queen Goosefoot,
I see a trend.
Bertha Broadfoot, Bertrada Broadfoot, and like a couple other variations of that. And
Did she have big feet?
she was likely club-footed.
Oh, okay.
She's not depicted that way in anything, but she was very likely club-footed because they like described her to have like goose-like legs and feet.
Okay.
I suppose that is the perk of being the queen. When you say no, don't put that in. They don't put it in the official
Right.
paintings.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's like probably was not. I don't think it was meant in a mean way. Those nicknames, those were like
Sure, that doesn't sound mean
right?
at all.
Probably, but like back then there were beliefs or myths that people with club feet had a link between the spirit world and the world of the living.
Oh, really?
So there was like rumor that she possibly was held with like high regard because she had this special quality,
Okay.
which I thought was interesting.
That is weird.
So I
Because
don't
usually, like, if you have a deformity, it's a bad thing at that time.
specifically people in that area and time of the world.
Yeah.
That was what was thought.
Huh.
So
Okay.
and Bertrada is thought of by a lot of historians to be like the first depiction of a mother goose.
Okay.
She had plenty of kids to entertain.
They called her Goose a lot.
They called her, that maybe just on description alone.
Yeah.
And mean nicknames that people called her.
Did they call her husband Maverick?
Oh, no.
No.
I gotcha. No, they did not. But she's believed to be maybe the source or inspiration for Mother Goose. And not so much on like her demeanor as a mom, but she was a mom of many.
Yeah.
And probably acted as such, although she was royalty. I don't know. She might not have been.
She probably had servants to kind of do that
Yeah,
sort of
I don't
thing.
know.
Just like roll in at breakfast and pretend to be like mom and
Yeah.
then roll out. And, have a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah. that kind of-
Who knows? And yeah, nothing like specific. They said maybe she was good at telling stories, but like I said,
lot of maybe.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now in 17th century France, they started using different phrases called like I'm bad at French and I never took it.
Okay.
So French
I
people,
never took it either. So
French people don't come at me. Mier leoi or mier oi are phrases used that described a woman who entertains children by telling them fantastic stories, tales, rhymes, songs,
Okay.
all of the above. So that was like a known, not trade, but like talent. I don't know.
Okay, sure.
It's what you would call a woman who would do that. So like a caretaker who was pretty enthusiastic, not just
Yeah.
like, you guys go do what you want.
Right.
Is like,
Just don't kill each other.
yeah, is someone who's like, let me entertain you. You know what might help? So if I,
Oh, sorry.
it's okay. If I
Part out.
if I actually do something with these kids, I should probably, I don't know, tell them some old tales and keep them entertained. Now in 1697, Charles Perrault writes and publishes Contes de ma Mère Louis, and that's Tales of Mother Goose, and it was a collection of folk tales, fairy tales, and it was a big hit in France, and it was translated into English in 1729. Nothing about England. All right. What year were we just at? 1697. Songs for the Nursery or Mother Goose's Melodies for Children was published in 1719. And that was in England, I believe. So now we're kind of... Oh, no. Sorry. That was in England, but it was also in America. But English readers had a history with Mother Hubbard,
Okay.
which is a little different. And in 1590, Mother Hubbard's Tales was published. Same idea as Mother Goose.
All right.
So, like...
Kind of a caretaker-y kind of woman that told stories.
Yeah, but this is like, they're just giving the books now the name of the what they saw people in town doing.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. And in 1697, sorry, I just bounced around on us, but I've been doing it all day with dates. Madame de Aulnoy. She was a popular writer in the time. She had several books out already. And she wrote Les Contes de Fées, which is fairy tales.
Okay.
And she actually, like, created that term, fairy tales.
Oh, that's the first time fairy tales was used?
Yes.
Ah.
And so that's, from then on, Mother Goose stories became kind of interchangeable, started to adapt the same type of idea.
Yeah.
Between fairy tales, Mother Goose stories, folk tales, that kind of stuff. And those stories that or those like phrases put together, like Mother Goose fairy tales, have been used for a long time in France. So, Isaac Goose, now this brings us to why we're talking about it.
Okay.
Because, it all has to come back
To here.
to here. Eventually.
Yeah.
Hey, we're here.
Right. We're talking about it.
Okay?
Yeah.
Isaac Goose of Boston. His first wife was Mary Goose, who died, and then he remarried Elizabeth Foster Goose. Now, she was born in 1665, and she ended up marrying him in 1682, I think. So she was pretty young.
Yeah.
And then Mary and Isaac had 10 kids together.
Bunch of goslings.
Yeah. And then Elizabeth and Isaac had 6 kids together.
Oof.
So collectively, he had 16 children.
Jeez.
And she was obviously stepmother to 10 of them.
Yeah.
I think that she ended up actually having 8, but 2 died fairly young. And she would soon be widowed by Isaac. Well, not soon. I mean, it was like a regular age. She was like grandmother's age. Mm-hmm. And Elizabeth went to live with one of her daughters and son-in-law who worked as a publisher. Now, during her time, like, she's taking care of a lot of kids. She became that Mother Goose type.
The one that told stories and kind of
Yes.
entertained the kids and
Right. And she did apparently a pretty good job at it. So the stories that she told, her kids told, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
These were fairly well-known stories, but she was someone who was known for just like really entertaining her kids. And she went by Verdi Goose or Vera Goose,
okay.
which I thought was out of
Verdi
Elizabeth.
Goose.
Out of Elizabeth,
Oh, that's weird.
right?
Maybe it's just maybe it's one of those things where like one of the kids couldn't pronounce Elizabeth when they're really little. You know how that kind of happens? Where,
Is that her like? You know how like you call your grandma, grandmother, nanny.
Right.
She's like, oh, the kids call me Verdi Goose.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, like one of them couldn't pronounce whatever and it came out Verity and they're like, it's good enough.
yeah, close enough.
Go with that.
So her son-in-law would go on to publish the stories that she told, because she still was actively doing that as the grandmother living with them and their kids.
Yeah.
Now that was the one I mentioned earlier that I didn't mean to in 1719.
Okay.
So now we have not just the Mother Goose figure, but the actual printing of Mother Goose stories from that person.
Okay.
There is like hot debate over where Mother Goose has originated from.
Right.
Because there's Mother Hubbard from England, which was a pretty long time ago. There's
the Queen Goosefoot.
Queen Goose in France, and that was a wicked long time
Yeah.
ago. And then there were like the Mother Goose stories that were really, really popular in France, and there's honestly like there's more about that online than there was about like Mother Hubbard
Yeah.
or anything like that. So there's more standing history.
It's weird. I
from
always think of
France.
Mother Hubbard as like one, like, wasn't it old Mother Hubbard went to the cupboard to get her poor dog a bone? Like,
Oh yeah.
that's the only thing I think about Mother Hubbard. I don't think of her as like a
recurring character.
or like the storyteller. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you think about Mother Goose stories. There's several different stories in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like a bunch of stories about Mother Hubbard, or maybe the heck it was. I don't know.
Yeah.
Couldn't find a copy. But but it's probably just was like the name of the, you know what I mean?
Right,
Just like the one it looks like now. So there was another book that came out that gave what we know, like Mother Goose's look. I think that we know today. Like,
Yeah.
When you think of Mother Goose, what do you picture?
I think of an older woman wearing a dress with like a white apron and like a bonnet kind of hat.
Okay. Yeah. All right. What do you think about when you think of Mother Goose?
Pretty much the same thing.
So I always imagine someone riding a goose.
Really?
Yes. And there's a older book from around that, like, 17, 18.
Yeah, but what was she wearing?
Same stuff.
Okay, you didn't ask me like how she got around. Like, you didn't be like,
When I
did she have a driver's license or,
did
she have a Tesla? You didn't ask that.
Like, is she a goose herd? I don't know. What's a goose herd?
But she is on a goose flying around, and she kind of looks a little witchy.
Okay, yeah. I can
But
see that.
same idea.
Yeah.
And it's Mother Goose and the Golden Egg, and that was like another collection of stories. But that's how one of the first on record printed visuals of her.
Yeah.
And I think there's been some fun adaptations of that throughout the years, and we can talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
But the reason we talk about Mother Goose from Boston is because of the grave site in the granary burying ground.
She's dead?
Sorry.
Spoiler alert.
I'm so sorry. Do you guys know who else is built there?
Built there.
You guys know who else is buried there?
Where was the place?
The
Sorry.
granary.
Father Goose?
No.
Okay.
Good guess, though.
Thanks, man. Is it really?
No. Is it someone we've discussed in the podcast?
What,
Not yet, but we want to talk about.
What town is it?
It's in Boston.
It's in Boston. We want to talk about it. Is it Paul Revere?
Yeah.
Shut up, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that was totally out of my keister.
Gooster.
Gooster, yeah, my gooster.
Yeah, Paul Revere's buried there. And so is Mary Goose. This is where I got a little confused.
Okay.
Apparently, so it's just Mary Goose's name on the grave, but apparently Elizabeth Goose is buried there too.
Okay. So they just never put the name on?
I guess so. So I don't know. I found it in one spot on it was like a it's like a travelers something.com, and it like people can comment on touristy sites.
Right.
This is listed on a touristy site, so it's don't know who this person is.
Yeah.
But this is who mentioned that her remains were added to it afterwards. But like,
How true is that? I mean,
yeah, I'm like, what? She had like a family still. Like they couldn't get her own.
I mean, there were 16 kids. You figure someone would pop for a separate grave.
That's
or
what
at
I-
least just pop her, let's put her name on the gravestone.
That's what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
I mean, we got all this mad Mother Goose money.
That's what I was thinking. Like literally, I was like, "What? They buried her out there?" So I think we would know where Elizabeth Foster Goose was buried
Yeah.
if she wasn't buried there. So that's the only reason I think.
Oh, I see what you're
Yeah.
You
saying.
know what I mean?
So wait, Mary's the first wife, right?
Mary's the first wife.
So do you think he just well, I mean,
Wow, that's kind of a...
You meant
where I bury
like
my wives?
plans from like her husband? You mean like
Yeah.
double
like it was
down?
one of those things where it's like, look,
No,
this
I already
is,
bought the plot.
this
Yeah.
is where my wives go,
Maybe, yeah.
and he's just just if I had a third one, she'd be in there too.
That's probably the case. Like I don't know how that worked
Is
really
he
back then. But it
buried
seems likely.
nearby?
I'm not sure.
Like,
He was like, my wives need to be very far away from me in the afterlife. I'm actually going to be in a different town.
He's like, they can hate me together.
I was thinking more like I got my burial plot and I can only get one next to me. I guess you're going to have to share. But if you guys want to go that way, fine. I was trying to be romantic and cheap.
Yeah, I think it's more of a. It could just be
So it was like
a before death planning.
It was like a throuple plot?
Oh my god! No, I don't think she knew her. So yeah, that's something that's in question.
Well, plenty of time to bond in death.
When you go there, you'll see Mary Goose on the grave, not Elizabeth. Foster Goose, who is the one that people claim to be the Mother Goose, and what songs for the nursery and Mother Goose's melodies for children, which her son-in-law published. That is like the Mother Goose book, quote unquote, but like it's really not the first Mother Goose book.
Right.
I feel like there was an episode where I was like, I debunked something, and that was like ended up being what the episode was about. And I feel like this is kind of on the same.
Yeah,
tail.
I mean, when I suggested this episode, I knew it was controversial
Right.
ahead of time. Like I knew there was question of
If like how valid that was.
But I mean, it's one of those.
It's fun to think it.
Yeah.
And she definitely was a Mother Goose type person. Her last name was Goose.
Right. Yeah. I mean, come on now.
She
And
really fit
She was a mother.
By definition, she's Mother Goose.
yeah, exactly.
And also stepmother goose.
Yeah. That's not as good. But I mean, it's one of those like it was at a time where publishing laws aren't the same, so it's like she might not have been the first Mother Goose, but doesn't mean she wasn't Mother Goose.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the idea that Charlemagne's mom was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just like it.
All right.
Yeah. Personally.
Okay.
But yeah,
That's
it's
fine.
fun. You can go there. You can visit her. You can visit Paul Revere and a few other famous people. It's the third oldest graveyard after colonial times in the U.S.
Really?
Yep.
Well,
And
I know there's a famous. This is apropos of nothing.
Yeah, please.
There's a famous grave in Weymouth. You know, when Alexander Graham Bell like made the first phone call. You know, Watson, I need you.
Yeah.
Watson's buried in Weymouth.
No way.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
There's someone's cat is buried in Dedham. Some famous
Probably
person's
lots of
cat.
cats.
Some famous person's cat or like something like that. We'll look it up.
Is it wearing a hat?
No, not
No,
that
'cause
cat.
that one came back.
Yeah. No, the Cat in the Hat. Yeah, the Cat in the Hat did come back.
Yeah.
That's the sequel. Okay. Anyway, off topic. So people visit today and they like to leave coins, like one does at any good wishing well. I don't know.
Your expression was priceless.
I don't know. Like,
You're like,
it's,
I don't know why they leave coins.
yeah, it's just a good token, I guess. And I'm sure they leave other stuff. People love to leave little trinkets
And whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. I got the hours from the graveyard pretty much to close this out like sundown. It's
Yeah.
like open until like seasonally, whatever. I've driven past it before. It's pretty cool looking. Have you seen it?
I have not.
I think it's in Cambridge. Someone
We
from
should
Boston.
totally like take a day trip and like.
Someone's gonna correct me. I feel
Yeah.
like it. But Mother Goose, when I was younger, what?
I found the famous dead.
Cat.
The famous dead cat?
That
That was some, honestly, like of all the facts to correct on this episode. I'm happy it was the
actually,
dead cat.
It's a dog.
What is it?
Wait, no, you can't be like, there's a famous dead cat, and you're like, well,
No,
I have
it's
this
definitely
dog.
a famous dead cat. It's like
I know.
sure there
I'm
is.
commenting on our research
I know.
department here. It's like
I'm sorry. The
you
only
can be like, I found it. It's a monkey.
What is it? What is it? What dog?
Admiral Byrd's the Antarctic explorer.
Okay.
His dog Igloo is buried at the Animal Rescue League in Dedham at
Okay.
Pine Ridge.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good
The
story,
cat,
but
I'm-
apropos of nothing
the
we're
cat
talking
I'm
about.
thinking of, I don't know if it was a famous person that owned him or if this cat was famous for something specific, but I know it's buried there. It's like the cat that died 9 times or something like that.
So it's buried in the same
yes.
graveyard with Paul Revere and Mother Goose.
No, different, that graveyard in Dedham.
Oh, the one in Dedham. All right.
Imagine if that cat was buried in that graveyard.
Also, Lizzie Borden's dogs are buried there.
Oh, is she?
maybe-
We know that she's a big
Animal.
animal lover.
But, yeah, my favorite nursery rhymes growing up. What were yours?
So this is something, as you were talking, I'm thinking, I'm like, I don't know how much I remember as nursery rhymes, and like I feel like between like Aesop fables and Brothers Grimm and Mother Goose, I'd have a hard time like. I have to like really sit and go, wait, okay, that's like a, like Cinderella is Brothers Grimm.
So there was a mix when Mother Goose first started of before it was like really like rhymey and songy. It was more folktales.
Okay.
So
it's like Humpty Dumpty, like Mother Goose. Okay.
Yeah, that's a Mother Goose. I'd say Little Miss Muffet.
Yep.
Looked into like the meaning and like when some of these got popular. Row, row, row your boat became popular. I think it was about. Oh crap! What was it about? No. It was the spider.
Oh, Itsy Bitsy Spider. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The other spider one. It's Itsy Bitsy Spider.
Yeah, sorry.
That's
Wait,
okay.
now I'm confused. It's the Itsy Bitsy Spider.
Yes,
All
yeah,
right,
yeah.
all right.
Ding, ding, ding.
Okay.
I got excited. The Itsy Bitsy Spider was about the struggle of the working class and
Wow.
capitalism.
Wow. Like, yeah. That's deep, man.
Yeah.
That's deep.
I know. Like the other ones had some kind of like cool whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like, the Itsy Bitsy Spider.
Climb up the water spout. Down came the rain, wash the spider out.
Yeah. Out came the sun.
Trap on the rain. It's a bit spider.
How we just keep doing the same
Oh
thing
my
over
God,
and
that's
over
like-
again. No matter how many times we go through that cycle.
I think I need a hug now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough, man.
I know. It hits you different now.
Right? Yeah. I'm like, wow.
All around the mulberry bush.
Which, all right. So mulberry bushes are trees.
Yes.
Didn't know that until I parked under one.
I mean, I think they might be technically a type of bush, but it can grow up like a tree. Like
Yeah.
a dogwood tree, you can cut a certain way and it'll grow like a bush, but it's still technically a tree.
Okay. Because I parked under a mulberry tree.
How was it?
It was a nightmare, and every time I go near it, I have to like go and like I'm doing it for work, and every time I go to work, I then have to go and get my car washed
Oh, really?
because it is ridiculous between the number of mulberries that fall on it and the number of birds that poop on it. Because apparently birds love mulberries. So I used to drive Mini Cooper.
Yeah.
I owned it for 3 years. Never once got it washed. In the first 2 months of owning my new car, I've had it washed 5 times.
Wow.
Because it's just every time I go out, I'm like, I can't drive this.
I've never washed my car.
It's so to the point where I'm like, I can't see out the windows.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay,
crazy.
gotcha.
And the only reason why I know it's mulberries is I was hungry and I went through the fast food window and the guy's like, oh, someone lives near a mulberry tree. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that's what these were.
That's so funny. I think so. There's a couple different sources of what that was made from, and one source says that it was likely created from there was a women's prison, and there in the yard there was a mulberry bush, and they say the women to exercise made up that rhyme.
To kind of run. It was all around the mulberry bush.
The monkey chased the weasel. Yeah, the monkey thought it was all but fun. Popcorn.
So who was
I don't know.
Prisoners? Interesting.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
That's one of them. There were several others. They were like, oh, mulberry was popular, and they were trying to collect silkworms. Love mulberry, I guess.
Okay.
And they were trying to collect
But where's the monkey coming?
silkworms, and it's about how the chase for silk was so big, and they had a hard time, and little did they know they
Then
could
a
make
monkey showed up.
yeah, well, they can make silk out of mulberry now, so I think it's just full circle on that.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But anyway, a couple popular ones. And then, do you remember the show Mother Goose that came out in the late 80s? With the giant, puppet, big bird-sized goose?
No, and I'm gonna have to Google that.
I forget what it's
I feel like I should because that's kind of my.
So that show.
You might have been a little too old for that at that point.
Yeah, but it probably would have been on my radar because it would probably have been a Saturday morning thing. Mother
Flying show.
Goose show.
So
80s.
There's also a very current Mother Goose show that I got a lot, trying to find stuff for this. That show just kept coming up on my search. I was like, what is this? It looks insane. And I think it's just a YouTube show. But that other one.
Oh, is it one of those YouTube children's
Yes.
algorithm things that's Ooh.
Is
Yeah.
it Mother Goose's Rock and Rhyme?
Let me see. No.
Because, I mean, in this one, Mother Goose is like,
Let me
I
check
don't
this.
know, man. Like,
That's
what up, baby?
That's not it. That's not the one. This is it.
Please remember what show you're on.
Mother Goose's Treasury.
Mother
And
Goose's Treasury. Can I
check
see?
out that goose. It kind of reminded me of
Oh my
like
God, I
Mr.
remember that at all.
Rogers a little bit.
Yeah.
And so Mother Goose in the beginning of that show would come flying in on that person in the goose suit.
But, I mean, like, Mother Goose's Rock and Rhyme's okay, too. I mean,
Yeah, that looked great.
yeah.
That looked like an adult show.
Oh, man. What website
Oh,
was that?
that's weird.
Hang on.
That doesn't
So
look
that's
like
just IMDb. All right.
Yeah.
Now I'm very distracted by the Mother Goose Rock and Rhyme.
I don't know. She's, yeah.
There is actually Mother Hubbard is in it.
Oh,
Ooh,
that's
really?
so funny.
Yeah.
I don't think this is for kids, guys.
There's kids all over this.
Yeah. They look like it.
Yeah, right there. See?
I'm just joking.
Yeah.
But
It's got a lot of cast.
A lot of, like, famous cast?
no.
Like no, the 1990 one, yeah.
So
Well, who's on it? Sorry.
Harry Anderson, Shelley Duvall, Art Garfunkel, Woody Harrelson, Cyndi Lauper,
whoa.
Wow. Is this the Rock and Rhyme
Little
one?
Richard, yeah.
Wait.
Wow.
Like I don't know
Is
what this
this-
absurd thing
Wait,
is, but
wait.
oh my word.
Shelley
it's like-
Duvall had a kids show that
Yes.
she produced and directed.
It was so good.
Does this have to do with it, maybe? Or
No,
is that
this
not
is
the same
it.
show?
No, that is not it.
No.
Okay.
That was, so way back, let's go in the way back machine.
Okay.
That was on Showtime,
Okay.
and it was called something like Fairy Tale Theater. It's not Fairy Tale Theater,
but
but
everyone
something
was on it. So it sounds like Shelley Duvall had something to do with this if
Yeah,
her and all
maybe.
of her
No,
friends
I-
are on it.
I saw another image. It's literally Shelley Duvall's Mother's Goose Rock and Rhyme. It's
Oh,
literally
so
Oh,
she
yeah.
apparently Shelley Duvall's a big like fairy tale fan,
yeah.
because I know exactly one
Yeah.
you're talking about. And like Robin Williams
Yeah,
played
Robin
the Frog
Williams was
Prince.
on it, yeah.
Pee Wee Herman played Pinocchio. Like it's
It had everyone.
dope. It's
Yeah.
so good. And I remember it because way back when I had my comic book shop, the VHS had come out and like come and gone. Like you couldn't
Mm-hmm.
get them anymore. And if you managed to get one of the VHS, this was before DVD, or like right on the dawn of DVDs, the VHSs were selling for like hundreds of dollars.
Wow.
And I like stumbled across like, I don't know, 24 of them.
Wow.
And they were all like, and I like went through this. Do I want to sell them? Do I not want to sell them? Am I going to watch them? But they're so good. I'm sure they don't hold
God.
up, but
I bet they're good.
Yeah.
So I was going to talk about Thumbelina.
Okay.
So funny that he just pulled that up.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the cast. Carrie Fisher in Thumbelina.
Yeah.
Christopher Lee.
is this
in
the
Boy Who-
Rockin' one or is this the other one?
No, this is Shelley Duvall's Fairy Tale
Yeah.
Theater.
Oh, I was right. It was Fairy
Yeah.
Tale Theater. Okay, all right.
Ellen Barkin, Howie Mandel.
Yeah.
Robin Williams and Terry Garr. Billy Crystal and Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, it's everyone was in that.
Gregory Hines and Ben Vereen.
Yep.
Tatum, good lord. Eric Idle. Ooh.
Yeah,
So I think too.
Eric Idle is the Pied Piper of Hamlin.
yeah.
That sounds amazing.
I mean, it's if you can find, it's got to be like out there somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, go watch it.
This brings me back to the point you were making earlier between Grimm's, like
Yeah.
Aesop's Fables, and what's a Mother Goose.
Mother
what
Goose.
falls under
Yeah,
Mother Goose.
It's a little blurry of the line.
Yeah. So like Thumbelina is one that stands out to me. I'm like, that's got to be Mother Goose or like one
Yeah.
of the fairy tales. What was the other one? The Pied Piper,
Yeah.
right? But I'm like,
I think that's Brothers Grimm, isn't
But
it?
I'm like, do they all like? Would you find another older story somewhere that's similar to it? You know what I mean? Do they cross over
But
at all?
I mean,
that was what the Brothers Grimm did anyway. They were
they
basically
compiled-
just compiling
yeah.
folk tales. So
Okay, it's hard. It's so hard to
There's
say
a-
because they all derive. Every culture probably had their own version
Mm-hmm.
of something very similar.
yeah.
France was ahead of the game apparently.
right. And Russia had a lot of old fairy tales, and so
Yeah.
it's not surprising that some Russian dude traveling in France might have told the story, and it became like a French story that they
Right.
tweaked and made a little more local.
Right. Just interesting because I was trying to think. I'm like, what do I know? I know Mother Goose, lullabies, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
poems, rhymes.
Well, you made me think of Storyland, Story Village.
Yeah, Storyland.
Oh, up in New Hampshire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Storyland, where fantasy lives. You know that one?
No.
And we can't afford the rights to that.
I don't know. Could we? I feel like we have $9.
It's a commercial for it.
Yeah,
I never heard that.
I have.
All right.
Yeah. I nailed it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good work.
Thank you.
It's like I was watching late 80s TV again. It was amazing.
But yeah, I think I've been to Storyland, but I was really young.
I went to Storyland when I was young.
I
So
don't.
that's been around for.
I don't really remember it, but Humpty Dumpty is one of those ones
Yep.
too.
I remember. The thing I remember about Storyland is there's like a stump that you sit on, and like when you sit on it, it triggers like a thing, and it lowers like the spider, and it's like the Little Miss Muffets out on top of it.
Yeah. Don't give away too much in case we have to do Storyland one day.
All right. Put that on the list, Fish.
Yeah. Let's not. All right, stop talking about it. Stop talking
All
about it. But I mean, that's pretty much it. Elizabeth Foster Goose, I think, holds a pretty good chance at being the Mother Goose. Besides that, honestly, someone I would give a lot of credit to was that writer who coined fairy tales.
Let's look at it as a Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland are all Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. So maybe there's more than one Mother Goose.
All right, I feel you.
You know,
So
they
what-
can all be.
You think there's going to be some big crossover where your Queen
The
Bertha
multi- the
meets
Yeah, there's gonna be a
Elizabeth?
multiverse crossover, and they're
Mother
gonna
Goose
fight to the death.
So just a man. You're expecting very different things from the new Spider-Man movie than I am.
There's gonna be the whole like Mother Goose segment.
Oh my god!
I was more you were expecting all the Spider-Men to fight to the death, which is
I don't think that would happen.
If there's a fight to the death or Mother Goose in it, I'll be happy.
yeah,
Yeah,
we're calling it.
that's right.
And I mean, that's pretty much all I got on the goose.
That's it.
Yeah.
Maverick didn't come in at all. I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah. Sorry.
sorry, man.
What are you gonna do?
It's tough. I mean, this is an all-ages show. We don't want to.
I don't really know how it ends because every time Goose dies, I shut it off.
They roll credits.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they play like Danger Zone over the closing credits. I can't remember.
Right.
I don't know.
All right. On that terrible segue, I think this is the part where we stop talking. Not start talking. That's stupid.
Yeah.
This is the part where we stop talking.
Thanks for listening to today's podcast. You can find us on all social medias at Inebri-art or on Instagram at Inebri-art6. You can email us at Inebri-art@yahoo.com. And make sure you listen to the other podcasts on the Inebri-art Podcast Network, including Bar Talk, Old Colony Cast, Retro Redoctopus, America's Hometown Horror Podcast, and our newest one, Theme Park Legends, a podcast about working at theme parks. What else? And we'll catch you again next time.